And thank you for your attendance at the Leading Literacy for Networks briefing. My name is Lisa Black. I'm the Manager of Regional Engagement here at Bastow, and Kerry Wood is my colleague who we're together, I guess, we're leading the Literacy Initiatives work, and hopefully some of which you've made very good use of over the last 6 months. I want to talk a little bit about the power of effective partnerships and how really this partnership between Bastow, regions, networks and schools will ensure the success of this program for all literacy leaders and enable their access to high quality literacy learning across the state. Before we begin with the logistics, I know you all want to hear about the logistics of how this is going to work, and you've got lots of questions based on the packs of information that we sent to you. But I do want to talk about a little bit about the history of this course and a meeting between Bastow and the outer Gippsland area that took place last year with the area team, which included network chairs, SEALs, EELS and the area executive director and so on. The strong message from that meeting was that we want to access high quality professional learning as close as possible to our own location. We want to network with each other, we want to build our expertise from within, and basically you want it now. From there, Bastow set out to ensure that we led, I guess we led 60 odd literacy workshops. I think we got them together within about
6 or 7 weeks.
6 or 7 weeks, yeah. And then led them out from last October. We delivered that through our own individual team here at Bastow, which was really new learning for us. And from there we set about designing a model for learning that would enable us to reach all corners of Victoria. We engaged regions and principals to endorse literacy leaders, 2 per network, and design a master trainer course of the highest standard that we possibly could. We engaged Will Cobb, Kay Cobban and Steve Willey, who lead what is our most popular course here at Bastow, Leading Literacy. That course has been going for many years now here, and we generally have about 4 intakes per year. We knew that if we based a literacy course on 4 intakes per year, we would get about 160 people through that course, and we knew that 160 would go nowhere near to engaging everybody in our state in what is a real drive and endeavour to improve literacy learning for our students. So from there, we've made use of the rich resources. We've designed a course that Kay and Steve have delivered. Almost 3/4 of that course has been delivered now to master trainers, and included all of the wonderful resources that have been developed by the department and are continuing to be developed by the department. So this briefing tonight is about ensuring that master trainers are fully supported by our key stakeholders, by networks, by regions, by schools and by us here at Bastow to make this a great success. We've never taken on such a course of this magnitude before. We've gone from 4 intakes to 57 intakes, 120 master trainers for all primary school literacy leaders. And it's for this reason that we really need this briefing and your support and engagement in this course. I remember way back a literacy initiative around 2009, and for those of you that are as old as I am, you will remember this initiative, and it was called Literacy Specialists. I think we still probably have a few literacy specialists in our system now. But when I was working in the region, I know that we had significant literacy issues, and support for teachers was really desperately required in our schools. We were allocated 2 literacy specialists, and we were told by the department which schools they would work with. That was 5 schools. This is something else again. This is a real opportunity, and I want you to lean into it and support us in this endeavour. So, Kerry, I think you're going to...
Yes, I'm going to talk about, give you a bit of an outline on what we're going to be talking about. So, Lisa has started with the big picture and the welcome and introduction to why we're here today. We're now going to go into the course overview and why this course and what it contains and how we're structuring it and why we're structuring it that way, and what the roles and responsibilities of the different people that are involved in this process are, and then we'll go through what the next steps are. And you have today's meet on which you can ask questions, which we have a small team that are going to work on answering those, and we will try and generally answer your questions, and if we don't know, we'll get back to you on that one. So take the opportunity to use today's meet to ask questions as we're going along, and we'll do our best to keep up with you because it can be quite rapid from experience. So where does all this sit within what Lisa talked about, which is the Literacy Learning Suite? Now, most of you, if you've had anything to do with the induction workshops or any of the pieces that you can see up there, have seen this map. And added to that is actually the masterclasses, which have now followed on. So we started in the green section, and we're now working with the master trainers through the network, so they are finishing up the training for those people. And now what we're talking about is the pink, so we're in the pink, and we're talking about the network course, which are going to be run in your networks. So that's the piece we're actually talking about, and you can see how all those pieces fit together, and a lot of you would have seen this document already without the masterclasses, which is the black part, which is running currently.
So this is the overview of the Leading Literacy for Networks course, and I'm not going to go into the detail, but broadly speaking, each module is one workshop, and each module follows a prescriptive kind of process. So there's some online learning that's expected with each module. There are pre-readings. There is obviously literacy workshop content. In module 1 and 2, it's reading. In module 3, it's writing. In module 4, vocab. And in module 5, curriculum and substantive talk. And Laura had to tell me what substantive talk was, which is talking out loud, or you're thinking out loud, describing your thinking out loud. There's also, obviously, for the literacy leader in each school, a requirement that they take this learning back into their school and lead a whole school approach to literacy learning. So that leadership role, what facilitating quality professional learning communities looks like, what high quality PLCs might be, and facilitating professional learning, because sometimes our teachers might be responsible for leading a whole school initiative, but never in fact had to lead the learning of others. So it's quite an interesting module design. And of course then there are post-module actions. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's a rigorous and highly designed course, but one that is enabling our master literacy trainers to deliver. I know there are many of you who are master trainers who are out there listening to this tonight and had some concerns about your expertise and experience after having only 5 days of training. We know you haven't lived your life 35 years being literacy trainers like Kay and Steve, and this is why we're here to support you in this endeavour. And we really sincerely thank you for putting your names forward to be part of this pretty exciting initiative.
And from a principal's point of view, for all those who have become master trainers, it is a wonderful skill for you to have. and will enrich your school and the schools in your network. So we're really connecting learners to learners as adults.
Great. So, intake 1, semester 2. Okay, now what this is about, we had a very big think about this here at Basto. And I know that we've spoken to the literacy leaders, and we had initially said that we would like 2 intakes completed by the end of the year. Well, we've completely rethought that and realised that 2 intakes is too big an ask and too big a task for master trainers and probably for regions and probably for networks to do. So 1 intake per network to be completed by the end of this year, and we will look at intake 2 to commence in 2019. 5 face-to-face workshop days, as I said, with at least 3 weeks between each workshop. Now, I know I have spoken to a couple of regions about this design. We're happy to talk to you more about that, but at least 3 weeks between each workshop will probably get us to the end of the year, and without completely being overwhelmed and overworked by the expectations of the course. 30 participants per intake, and that will enable pretty much 1 literacy leader from every school in every network to participate. And SEALs who are listening to this, and area executives and so on, regions, we would really like your support to ensure that every school is represented in this course. And if the literacy leader in the school has done a leading literacy course or is part of the LDAP course, we would encourage you to ask principals to send the next person in line that you're wanting to provide some really strong professional learning for. So make sure every school is represented.
Now, one of the questions has been, we'd plan to have 2 concurrent workshops at different ends of our network. Is it possible? Well, it's not impossible, but it's not advisable. And the reason it's not advisable, because at the end of every unit, the participants are asked to go back and put into action what they're learning, to build on their skill as they're going, and then be able to come back into the workshop and discuss what they have experienced and learnt and share within that process. So putting them together does not give them an opportunity to do that. So we are asking that they are separate days, with preferably the 3 weeks in between. Can you have more than 1 person? Well, the 30 participants, the idea of making it a manageable group, the first round would be to make sure there's 1 from every school. That's the most important thing within your network. Some networks have 25 schools, some networks have 30, some have 35. So it's a balance of being able to enable the master trainers to have a group that's quite manageable and the learning within that. But of course, that's for discussion as well.
Yeah, and I think you're the best judge of that too. So it's clearly Basto has some things that we'll be mandating, but I also think there are some things that will be negotiable within your network and within the master trainer, and of course with the region too. So we need to make this work for our master trainers, and I guess from our perspective, participant enrolment is really critical. But to be supported in that workshop delivery, particularly for the first one, is going to be really huge. We want to make sure that we're supporting them in that. So our master trainers, they all know who they are, and I think we've still got 1 intake to commence. Intake 4 will be starting in about end of the month, and so far, I know that the training has been outstanding, and trainers have come back saying, gosh, there's so much to learn, there's so much to do, but all very good. We're asking that network chairs select a nominee. Now, that might be yourself as the network chair, but you might have someone within your network, a principal within your executive team, that might be prepared to be the literacy leader for network nominee, who can be the person that will be supporting your master trainer. And you may not know, but there are 4 people in your regions, and I believe they're with us this evening on this live stream. 4 people who are called School Professional Development Coordinators. And those people are going to be helping with some of the logistics for this work, and I'll go into some detail about that a bit later. So in the northeast, it's Kathy Blackburn, northwest, Silvana Del Bene, the southeast, Patricia Pellman, who is currently acting in that position for a short while longer, and we will 2 more weeks, and we'll let you know who that person who picks up that position. And in the southwest, Luke de Gabriel will be supporting some of this work. Okay. So I thought we'd start with roles and responsibilities, because people want to know what it is that I have to do. So as far as BASTO is concerned, the master trainers will be facilitating the Leading Literacy for Networks course. They will also be responsible for ensuring that they have the blue tack, the butcher's paper, the texters and pens and pencils required, as any good teacher would be, well prepared for that facilitation. BASTO will take on all of the registrations for this course, because while it is it would be made much easier for us if we said to networks, we've done the training, here are your master trainers, can you go off and organise it and make it run, select your venues, order the catering, and we'll pick up the tab. It won't work well like that, and I'll explain why. So BASTO is going to be responsible for 57 intakes. I think it's around 1,700 participants, because what we want to be able to show that the investment in this course, in the master trainers to start with, and then in the participants, that investment we can actually say has been delivered, a course delivered consistently across our state to all primary school literacy leaders. And we can say at the end of it, and this is the outcomes that we were able to achieve. I get goosebumps just thinking about it, because we've never tried something like this before, where we're all going in to have a real go at improving the teaching of literacy in every single primary school in our state. How cool is that? So BASTO wants to be able to pull together the data, the analytics, help you with your registration, with the registration process. So we'll be providing you with your registration list and so on. And we'll also be supporting some of the logistics that will need to take place for that to happen. The network nominee will be supporting master trainers with organisation and delivery. The SPDC will be the contact for any queries and concerns of the network nominee. Sorry. Well, the network chair could be the network nominee. Sorry, Laura's talking to me down the front here, so I'm...
So what we're saying is the network chair may choose to be the network nominee, or they may, as a network or chair and executive, the decision might be made for someone else to take up that role. But that's up to each individual network. Yeah,
and just on that, I think it's really critical that the network nominee and region in partnership, so with the SEAL or the area exec director, is there to open this course or to close this course and show really strong united support for the work that's been done so far and the work that the participants will do, because I know it's rigorous. I've seen the design. So the opening speech might be part of that role, support through network resources that BASTO has enabled. So there's a financial resource that network chairs have access to through BASTO for some of the consumables and some of the resources, which we can talk about later. The SBDC is the contact for any queries, concern or help for network nominees, as I said. And of course, we'd love the involvement of SEALs in all ways, support for the master trainers, for the participants, for the nominees, and to make this a great success for the networks that you're responsible for. And naturally, we suspect that any resource that you put into a particular professional learning exercise, usually the results speak for themselves, and the improvement in student learning outcomes will be the effort of all of us. And of course, the participants, which we did put down the bottom here, the expectations of participants, and this is something that you all need to listen to this one, is that participants are required to attend all workshops, no exceptions. No, oh, and I'm going to fill in for you on workshop 3 because I'm really interested in writing and I'm leading the writing bit. No kind of random attendance for someone can't come that day. One person attends all workshops. Now, obviously, if people are sick and that kind of stuff and they're going to miss out on a particular workshop, we would ask that people not substitute a person in for that particular workshop day. It's really the participant is the one who is required to actively engage in all aspects of the course. Where are we now?
Someone wanted to know what an SPDC was.
Oh yeah, a School Professional Development Coordinator. There's one person in that role in each region, and they work really closely with BASTO to make sure that you're really clear about what BASTO is doing, what courses are on, what professional learning might be about to be delivered in that particular region. And if you don't know them, send them an email. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Yes.
Because I don't think they're allowed to send you one.
Yeah, probably not.
So where are we now, Laura?
Network nominee to complete the survey. So whoever the...
Okay. So the first thing we need from the network nominee, which may or may not be the network chair, is, and this is a negotiation that needs to take place between the master trainer, the network nominee, and probably the principal of the network master trainer school.
Yes,
just to ensure that that's really important, because we need your dates. So the network, by the 18th of May, we would ask that you have negotiated the dates for the course, and BASTO will be putting up those dates through this survey. We'll get some information back from you around the venue, we need your bio. Laura will be sending out a template for the master trainer to make sure that there's a biography of each master trainer, and that critically the dates don't clash with school events, with network events, with regional events, and probably with central office.
And preferably not reporting time.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
It's a hard time in schools.
Exactly. The networks, we would ask to have a think about the venues, but quite seriously, BASTO's preference is for the venues to be school locations rather than conference centres or motels that have those kind of reception areas and that kind of stuff. Because big announcement really tonight is that we've been able to negotiate. It's probably a one-off, but our big endeavour is to get CRT backfill for participants into the program. I want to say for all days, but I can't because it's a very big sum of money. But if we can, we will be providing some CRT backfill for participants in the course for 3 days, and we're still going to negotiate and go a bit harder for schools with an enrolment size under 200, because we do understand that CRT is a big issue for
all schools.
And resourcing is a big issue.
So just to make it clear, up to now, up to the point where Lisa has negotiated this, the CRT days were only supplied for the master trainers and not the participants. But now Lisa has negotiated 3 days of the 5 for the participants as well. So it's a very powerfully valued opportunity, and we thank Lisa for being able to negotiate that.
Thanks, Kerry. I think it's actually the government budget has allowed.
We probably thank the government budget for that,
happen, which is brilliant. So, so where we can, we want to be able to look at venues where schools within the network will be able to offer a room or a training room, a classroom that will be suitable for the delivery of this. Anything I've missed? Catering. Catering, I think it's on the form. There will be a participant cost for the course. It's a notional cost, and please be aware that every dollar that is being put into this program is going back out to either the participants or the master trainers and the schools to ensure that the program is really viable.
What needs to be supplied to the maximum level that we can possibly fund it. So that's why there is that charge.
That's right. Catering, SPDCs will organise. I think what will happen is you'll fill out the survey form, or the network nominee will fill out the survey form. That will come to BASTO. BASTO will then put it up on the registration on our website. The information around venue and catering will be provided to the SPDCs, who will confirm those bookings. And for any of you who have worked in a centralised bureaucracy before, you will know this is to try and minimise red tape and paperwork, so that the SPDCs actually will undertake that paperwork on your behalf, because they require 3 quotes for catering, and they require a whole lot of endorsement and sign-off around that. And they're very well aware of that. They've done that before with the induction literacy workshops. So thank you to those people who are going to take on that responsibility. Next slide.
Well, just to say that, just looking at the questions, I'm trying to keep an eye on that. The backfill for the master trainers for the delivery of the courses is absolutely covered.
Yes.
That's been the case right from the beginning. What we were talking about is some extra. And to the person who wanted us to go over the small schools, we are still in negotiation about that.
Yes. Because
we felt schools under 200 might need extra support, so Lisa is still...
We're still working on that one. Let's kind of watch this space. By the time we deliver in the start of term 3, we'll have an answer on that one.
Now, one of them also said we've asked for them to be in schools, and they don't have any schools that have a physical space big enough to do that work. So you were suggesting some funding that came through from BASTO to every network, which can help subsidise that process.
That's right. And if networks choose to or select a venue that they would prefer to use other than a school, you can use some of that funding or all of that funding to support the venue, or you can use some of your own network funds if you have them at the moment.
Now, the network chairs were all invited to this briefing. Yes. The people that said their network chair was unaware, and this is also being recorded, so it can be distributed.
That's right. Are there any more questions that we haven't covered that people are unsure about? The survey link will be sent out. Have you answered that one, Laura? The survey link will be sent out by the end of this week. So look for that by Friday. It'll come into your inbox. And the bio template for master trainers will also come at the same time.
So the master trainers have a lot of the information. That when you registered, there was also a lot of attachments to this to help. Just confirming network chair is Seal? No. Network chair is actually one of the principals from the local network and the SEAL work along with the network chair. There's two different people.
That's it. Do master trainers get to meet with their network nominee? Will they contact us? Can you just send us an email or send your SPDC an email, and they may be able to broker that introduction for you, okay, if you don't know them.
And if we can possibly go back through the pack to the slide where the SPDC's names and what region they are. I noticed there was a question about who they are, and we'll go back to that slide. There you are. They're all on Edumail.
Yep. So
if you just write down the name of the person, you'll be able to find their email on Edumail if you want to get in contact with them.
Yeah, I would. If I was, we've got a question about, as master trainers, are we able to suggest locations? Absolutely. Have a chat to your network chair, discuss it, debate it, talk about the dates, where's best, what do you think, and then make a decision. I think it should be a collaborative decision. I think this whole exercise really is strongly about collaboration. Mm. It's helping us all to get to know our network. It's helping us all to get to know each other. What I think is the power of this course is the potential networking that will take place as a result of the delivery, and the support from the network for all literacy leaders of schools within a geographic network area to be able to come together and learn together. And what more could we ask for than to have this particular course in our location with our people, in context, talking about our kids, sharing our knowledge and learning, and having a go and trying out and testing these micro lessons that you've got to practice when you go back into school, and come back and discuss it and debate it and have a think about how we can do it better. And I guess that brings me to Laura put up this quote: the power of effective partnerships between Basto, regions, networks and schools will enable all literacy leaders access to high quality literacy learning across Victoria. I really do believe that. I really think this is a great opportunity, never really before had in Victoria to my knowledge, and I'm hoping for great work and great learning, and indeed, for our kids, pretty much, for our kids in Victoria. So I wish you well, and I really hope that this is the success we've been dreaming of our whole lives. I know Kay and Steve certainly had that dream, and I share it particularly, and I know Kerry does, and Laura and everybody here at Basto, and I wish you all the very best. If there are any further questions that we haven't been able to answer, we'll take them on notice, and we'll get back to you.
And can I just say the importance of partnerships between all people within region, in your networks, it can't be understated. The connectedness and the opportunity for participants that actually undertake the courses in your region to become a community of practice themselves and learn from and each other and within that group cannot be bottled and sold, to be honest. It is a very powerful way for us as a state collectively to move together and make a difference for our kids.
So we wish you well, and we can't wait to hear back from you and to get this ball rolling for this Leading Literacy in Networks course that will kick off in Term 3. Thanks everyone, and good night.
Good night.